Let's get this one started the right way, as the best highlights will always stick out. That runner is now fearing the pickoff move, so let's celebrate spring sports the only way we know how. The power of the stash. Sports Night is next.
With a mustache like that, you have to spend time grooming it, and you do a fantastic job.
Thank you, but I noticed there's a little more gray in it year after year, but that's okay. It's not coming off.
Yeah. There's a little gray in the beard as well, but we want to welcome everyone to Sports Night. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Young. This, as always, is Howie Shapiro, and a lot of stuff to talk about. We weren't able to get a show in last week, so and finally everybody trying to play catch up because of the slow start with all the snow.
Right.
So we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We will start with the baseball team. Got their first win of the season against Armstrong on the road, beating the Falcons 6-3. Zach Novak, 2 for 2, had 3 stolen bases, scored 3 times. Logan Ness, 1 for 3, had a double, a couple of steals as well. As a team, there you see Stahlberger, a couple of steals as well. They were running a lot against Armstrong, and it helped them to that win. Tommy Dutton gets the victory on the hill, going 6 innings, giving up just 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. Had 6 walks and only 3 strikeouts, which they'd like to see that reversed.
Yes,
but the win is the important part.
That is the important.
The first one's always the toughest.
Yep.
Well, the Cardinals were on the road at Centennial the very next day and hoping to carry some momentum onto the field against the Cougars. It was cold and windy, but the Cardinals persevered and put up one really impressive inning that helped them even their record at 2-2 early in the season. Centennial came into the game at 3-0, and they got the early lead against the Cardinals. Bottom of the third, Sam Meny with a high fly to right field. Matthew Stahlberger makes the catch, but Will Whalen tags and scores. Gives the Cougars a 2-0 lead. Top of the fourth, the Cardinals explode. Stahlberger with a similar shot down the line to right. Mason Myrie will score on the sacrifice, give CR the lead at 3-2, and they were just getting started. Bases loaded, infield in. Sammy Lee grounds to short. The throw home gets away. Ness scores easily, and here comes Danny Scheller to the plate. Cardinals up 5-2, and there's still only 1 out in the inning. Myrie back at the dish, and he delivers again. Just a bloop to short center. So that gets Tyler Donnell home from third. Cardinals scored 9 runs in that 4th inning on their way to an 11-6 win. You'd love to see them get a little more consistent offense, spread it out, but as long as you put up 9.
You said it was cold and windy. That was an understatement in that game. It was extremely cold and windy, but the Cardinals did persevere, and they had a nice inning, and they were able to hang on.
Unfortunately, they fell back below the 500 mark against Osseo, losing to the Orioles 8-1. Another good day for Novak at the plate, but just not enough offense. Dutton takes the L this time.
Well, the Cardinals were hoping for a bounce-back game when they welcomed a new conference conglomerate to Wintercrest Park. The Park Center squad has joined forces with Columbia Heights, Maranatha Christian Academy for this season. The PCM Pirates came in at 2-2, but this would be their first Northwest Suburban game. Cardinals were 2-3 overall, but they were 2-1 in the conference play and looking to stay on the plus side of 500. Cardinals start the scoring in the bottom of the second. Jaden Kopp's sacrifice fly to right scored Danny Scheller from third, and that gave the Cardinals a 2-0 lead. That turned out to be enough. Jared Fearing, really strong outing. He got some help from his defense in the top of the fourth, grounder up the middle, fielded by Mark Manders, and it's a tailor-made U6-3 double play. Fearing just won over a minimum through 5 2/3. Crazy play in the fourth. Manders dropping down a sacrifice, but the pitcher airmails the throw over first and over the backup, Colin McCullough, on his horse. He's going to score all the way from first, and the Pirates try to get Manders at third. That throw skips into short left center. Manders circles the bases on a pair of Pirate errors. As I mentioned, Fearing went the distance, giving up just 1 run on 3 hits. He had 5 strikeouts, including a couple of knee-buckling curveballs like that. 3 of his 5 were punch-outs. Well, the Cards are going to tack on a couple more in the 6th. Jaden Kopp with a 2-run single. He was 1 for 3 with 3 RBI. Cardinals are in the 7-1 win and improved to 3-3 overall and 3-1 in the conference. Nice win for them, and nice to be 3-1 in the conference, Joe.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I mean, they started with a couple of really tough teams, Minnetonka and Prior Lake. Those games did not at all go the way they had hoped. But, you know, once you get into conference play and as you progress through the season, you want to see things getting better. Talking to the coaches before the game, they were kind of scratching their heads about the loss over against Osseo. They said, you know, the team that we were against, Armstrong and Centennial, not the same team we were against Osseo. But they came back and got a win.
They did.
And they hope that they can continue. They're at Totino. We're actually shooting this on Tuesday evening, and they are still over at Totino in the midst of a battle with the Eagles. They will host Andover on Thursday. And I got way behind.
And we'll be there, by the way.
We will be there. Softball team still looking for win number 1. They've definitely had some ups and downs early on. 6 runs against Armstrong is good, but they gave up 14. Ryan Mellum, though, 3 for 4 with a triple and a couple of RBIs. But again, you know, as we look at some of the other scores, they've either done well and kept the other team to minimal runs. Like this, only gave up 4 against Osseo, but then they only managed 1 run on their own. That dropped them to 0-4. And then they faced Two Rivers. And again, they got the bats going a little better, put up 5 runs, but unfortunately they gave up 9. So that puts them at 0-5. And then on, is that it? That's where they are? Yep. Yes, that's where they are.
That's where they are.
I was thinking there was another game in there, but they are also at Totino today and hosting Andover on Thursday. So we'll definitely get you caught up on that action next week on Sports Night. Tennis team, wow, are they off to a fantastic start. Tennis team continues this strong start with their only losses to this point to a couple of highly ranked opponents. Back on Tuesday the 18th, the Cardinals welcomed the Anoka Tornadoes to the Pivot Courts. Both teams were 3-1 at that point, but the Cardinals proved themselves in a statement matchup early in the schedule. CTN crew was there for the match, and we were treated to a great one. Sam Murillo continues to give the Cardinals a great start at first singles. Anoka's Ethan Lamb put up a good fight, but in the end, he was no match for Murillo. Murillo controlled nearly every point, and he did it from every part of the court. Beautiful drop shot right hit there on his way to a 6-0, 6-1 win. A tighter contest at first doubles. Joe Savelli and Cal Jensvold in the far court for the Cardinals, facing Anoka's Aiden McCarty and Jacob Larson. Good volley on this point. Savelli with the winner, putting it right into the chest of Larson. Hard to return that one. Anoka took the first set 6-4, but the Cardinals battled back with a 7-5 win in the second, and they dominate the super tiebreak, reeling off 8 straight points on their way to a 10-2 win. Cardinals sweep up on the Tornadoes 7-0 and improve their record to 4-1.
Yeah, that was a fun one, and definitely it was interesting because those first 2 sets were really close, and as you mentioned, the Cardinals dominated in the super tiebreaker, and it really wasn't even close in that one, winning that 10-2. So that was a fun one to be a part of.
Yeah, to be there for the comeback, too, because they trailed in the second set early on as well, but came back and won it 7-5, and then, yeah, they scored the first 8 points of the super tiebreak, and really put the break in the tiebreak, kind of broke their backs.
They did.
But unfortunately, the next matchup was against a very strong Centennial squad, and the Cardinals dropped that one 6-1. Anderson at fourth singles, the lone victory for the Cardinals, winning 6-1, 6-1. Cooper went to 3 sets, but lost at third singles. And there you see Sam Murillo put up a good fight, but when Sam Murillo's losing, you know that's a pretty strong team.
And it's a heck of a first singles player.
And they've had a couple of tri-meets since that time. This was last Wednesday, I think was the 26th.
Yeah.
And they hosted Delano and St. Michael Albertville. They win both of those, won 5-2 over Delano, 4-3 over St. Michael Albertville. And then that was on, it still says the 26th, but that's not correct. They did not play 4 matches that day?
No, they did not.
So that was okay. That was just yesterday that they played Princeton, and Foley and Coach Storik's write-up was glowing about this one and how strongly they performed. Best part to me is another 4-3 win. That's already 3 or 4 of their wins. They're 6-2 to start. There's that 8-2. They're 8-2.
They're 8-2.
8-2, and 3 or 4 of those wins are those 4-3 matches that we always tend to talk about. But I know even Sam had brought it up when we talked to him about doing the preview. He said what we really want to do is we lost. You know, we had, I don't remember what it was, 10 or 12 wins last year, but we lost like 5 or 6 by a 4-3 score. We really want to turn those around. And so far, so good. They have won all of the 1-point matches that they've been in.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that fact that they did lose a number of 4-3 matches last year, and to be able to turn those around, those are important matches to win because, you know, when you're playing and especially come down the stretch, if you're able to play those tight matches and come out on top, that's great for your squad.
Another busy week for the Cardinals. They're at Champlain Park today, Tuesday. They will host Andover on Thursday, and then they'll be at Elk River for a quad on Saturday. So the track team, the girls track team had its hosted a tri-meet a little more than a week ago. It was not a scored event, but some good things came out of it. The 4x100 relay team took first place with a season low 51.6. The coolest part maybe about that is that the makeup is a freshman, Solange Barkon, 2 sophomores, Marvina Williams and Bailey Rao, and then the 1 senior, Michaela D'Souza, who's obviously we know is a very strong athlete. We look forward to how she's doing come section time. And then also standouts from Jock in both levels of hurdles. Williams again in the 100 and 200 meter dashes should be another 1-2 punch for with Michaela D'Souza, and then Amadian Flores and Olivia Tannum both were very strong in the throws, according to Coach Ken Jagasic. Now, there were a handful of Cardinals invited to last week's Hamlin Elite Meet. It's an invite-only affair, and a couple of just absolutely mind-blowingly impressive performances. Jackson Smith, second place in the high jump. He went 6'6",
Yikes.
and he lost in a jump-off. He and another guy were tied. They had a jump-off. And he finished just an inch shorter than the other guy. So phenomenal for him to have that kind of success this early in the season. This draws the best athletes, track and field athletes from across the state. So fantastic to have that kind of finish with this kind of competition. He was also fourth place in the 110 meter hurdles. The 4x100 relay team, remember this is that's an event that the Cardinals sent a team to state last year. They're hoping to do the same this year. That was Sean Sullivan, Yaya Sidibe, Davis, and Cummings Coleman. And then Cummings Coleman also there got an invite to run the 200 meter dash, which he finished 7th. Michaela D'Souza, I kind of expected to see her in the sprints, but she was only invited for the long jump, where she finished with a 10th place finish with 16 feet, 11 and a half inches. So congrats to all of them.
Yes, nice job.
Both track and field teams are over at Blaine today. Quite possibly another one of those that we don't really get official team scores, but hopefully we'll get updates. Both coaches have been great about sending me emails and highlighting some of the performances from their athletes. They will host the first ever, the inaugural Cardinal Invitational on Friday, and I've been told that will definitely be scored, and we will definitely have results for you next week on Sports Night. Boys golf is halfway through the season. Over the last 2 weeks since the last time we sat here, they pretty much played half of their conference schedule. Start with the Northwest Suburban Conference at North Fork. The Cardinals finished 12th place, able to get in front of Andover and out of the cellar. Gavin DeVries with the low round for the Cardinals with an 82. Berg had an 83. Thompson an 86. So it's good to see all of the guys right around those low to mid 80s. Then on, let's see, that was first, 4 days later, they were at Golden Valley. Cardinals fall to 13th place. Caleb King led the way with an 86. Oscar Berg had a 90. Law shot a 93, while DeVries fell to a 96. Petru had a 107. We're going to call him Johnny Dogleg from now on.
Ooh, I like that one. Or Johnny Sandwich. That's a good one, too.
And then last Thursday, they finally got to host the Bunker Invitational. It's usually the first event of the year. Got pushed back about 3 weeks because of the weather. Cardinals finished 28th in that event. I think there's 32 or 36 teams. It's a huge event. They play 27 holes, take their best 18. Oscar Berg had the low 18 for the Cardinals with a 79. Law's not far behind in an 81. DeVries shot an 83. On Monday this week, they were at Rush Creek. Oh, there's another one. That's right. Okay, at Rush Creek, that was Monday. Oscar Berg had the low round of 82. Gavin DeVries shot an 88. Cardinals back in 13th place. They actually had another match today at the Refuge Northwest Suburban Conference. That's where I got thrown off because Caleb King, according to the text I got from Coach Bruggers, he said Caleb King was a 1-under going early in the match and was actually leading the field. He finishes with a low round for the Cardinals with an 86. Gavin DeVries had an 87. Law shot a 90. Berg a 93. Rowan Bresnahan getting his first varsity action of the season shot a 98, and Petru shot a 111. Cardinals finished 13th place with a 356. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 of 4 conference tournaments already, plus the Bunker invite.
The weather's been so cooperative for the most part that they've been able to get so much golf in.
Once the snow finally went away.
We had a little bit of rain, but for the most part, I think it was on the weekend, so they were able to get a lot of golf in.
Well, and the Cardinals will go just across town to Majestic Oaks in Blaine for the Bengal invite. First time that they have participated in that event. It's a 2-day event, so they'll get 36 holes in. We hope that weather continues to hold for them. Girls golf, on the other hand, they don't play tournaments. They play head-to-head, and the Cardinals started off against Anoka and lost 201 to 239. Eleanor Defoe, though, a pretty solid 54. The rest of the squad in the 60s. That's very encouraging considering how many new players they have on this team. So a good place for them to start. Then on the 24th, which was Tuesday last week, I think, Monday or Tuesday, somewhere in there.
24th was Monday.
It's why I keep you around.
They
lost to Andover 252 to 189. Eleanor Defoe, though, again, a very solid 52. Sophia Meyer and Jade Donson both had 66s. Davis shot a 68. Hogarth a 69. They are facing off against Champlin today at Edinburgh, and not all of the results were final on the Minnesota State High School League's golf app, so we'll just have to wait until next week to see exactly how that all played out. They will be at Blaine tomorrow, and then the Purple Hawk Invitational down in Chaska is another one that was supposed to happen about 2.5 weeks ago. Finally going to get that in on Saturday, and
that should be a good one.
That's weather permitting.
Yeah, I think the weather this weekend isn't supposed to be great, so let's hope they get that in. Let's talk some boys lacrosse. After starting the season with an 11-4 loss to Elk River, the boys lacrosse team hit the road to face Anoka in their second game of the year. Their Tornadoes were coming off their first win of the year, and they've shown the ability to put up big numbers. Catbirds needed to keep the pressure at the Anoka end if they hoped to score their first victory. SLPCR getting the start they wanted. Henry Left coming out from behind the net, jumps, spins, and scores. Catbirds on the board first. But Anoka's going to answer by keeping the action at the other end of the field. Joe Pineski wins the ball along the end line, and he's able to walk out front unchallenged. His goal puts the Tornadoes on top 3-1. Well, this momentum's going to swing back the other way. After that, Catbirds attacking. Ethan Ossie fires low and scores to put SLPCR back in front 4-3. Well, after Anoka evened it up, the Catbirds back to work in the offensive end. This pass doesn't click, but it bounces right out to Brody Herzog. Out front, he quickly puts it to the net, put SLP back in front 5-4. This game continues to go back and forth to the very end. Ethan Massman coming right down the middle for Anoka. He fires from a ways out, as you saw there. Finds the back of the net, puts the Tornadoes up 8-6. Catbirds were down but not out. Nice effort from Nolan Hazelwood, weaving his way inside and scoring to even the score at 8-all with 30 seconds left in regulation. But in the extra period, Anoka getting the win. Devin Hirsch nets his 4th of the night, and that's going to give the Tornadoes a 9-8 win in overtime. Tough loss for the Catbirds, Joe.
Yeah, especially with the team, struggling to find some confidence and some consistency early in the season. You come from behind, you force the extra session, but just can't finish it off. That was actually done the same night we did the preview show.
Yep.
A little more than 2 weeks ago. So then on Thursday, the 20th, Cardinals or Catbirds hosting Hastings over at Spring Lake Park High School. Nolan Hazelwood, just watch how many goals he's putting up over the last few games.
Yeah, he's been hot.
I think he's got 3 or 4 straight games with at least 3 goals. But they lose to Hastings by a 17-10 score. Well, the Catbirds had just one home game at Cardinal Stadium this season, and it was last Monday when they hosted Centennial. The Cougars were coming in off a loss, but they were 2-2 on the year, with both losses by a single goal and both wins by hefty margins. The Catbirds were hoping they could keep it close and knock off the Cougars for their first win of the year. Catbirds setting the tone early. Good chance for Danny Quist in close, but he's denied. SLPCR with good pressure on the ball, though, forced a turnover. Ethan Ossie fires it to the back of the net, and the home team has the lead 3 minutes in. Midway through the first, great individual effort from Trent Burke. He's going to shoot low for the score. SLPCR out to a 2-0 lead. But Centennial takes the momentum late in the first, and they run with it. They score 6 unanswered goals. Nice passing play to set up Gavin Craig on the doorstep. Cougars go into the half with a 6-3 lead. Catbirds trying to claw their way back into the game in the third. Good look from Herzog to Hazelwood down low. He scores quickly to get the Catbirds back within 2, but that's as close as it would get. Centennial locking it down in the fourth with strong possessions. They had 5 more unanswered goals as they go on to the 12-6 win.
Yeah, it was a tough one. They would have liked to get that W, looking for that opportunity right now.
Well, they did get their first win the next time on the field, hosting Osseo Park Center, who is still winless, and they put the hammer down.
They did.
They took care of business, a game they should win, and they made sure that they did. 4 goals from Henry Leff, 4 more from Herzog, another hat trick from Hazelwood. He had 3 assists to go with it, both Leff and Hazelwood with 6 points each for the Catbirds in that one, improving their record to 1-4. Unfortunately, on Monday, they took on the undefeated Maple Grove Crimson and lost that one 14-1. It's tough to go from a winless team one game, and the next game you face the undefeated conference leaders.
Yeah, well, and Maple Grove's awfully good, so that was a tough matchup for them from the get-go.
Well, the Catbirds will host Champlin Park tomorrow, and then they are at Forest Lake next Monday. Girls lacrosse team also having its struggles. Very young program. They lost a lot to graduation last year, and they were treated not so fairly against the Blaine Bengals. They lose 15-4. 3 goals for Abbott out of the 4 for the Cardinals. Wigan had the other one. Sam Marnholz, though, she's had it, from what we've seen, she's been pretty good, even though she's been under siege. I mean, she had almost 50 saves, 50% saves in that one. Unfortunately, not as close against Spring Lake Park. They lost that one 13-1 on Wednesday, the 19th. Then that brings us to last week, Howie.
That does bring us to the last week. Well, the Cardinals had a whole week off before returning to action last Wednesday at home against Totino Grace. The Eagles had lost 3 straight since an opening win over Osseo Park Center. They were coming in hungry, looking at the winless Cardinals as a way to get back on track. At the same time, the Cardinals were thinking this would be a great time for win number 1. The Eagles couldn't have started much more quickly. Off the opening draw, their leading scorer, Kate Engel, weaves her way through the Cardinals' defense. She starts the scoring less than 15 seconds into the contest. Nice goal there. Well, and the pressure from TJ was relentless in the first half. Layla Jackson finding a way to slash through the defense. Her goal put the Eagles up by a score of 5-0. They had 7 before the Cardinals finally able to break their silence. Anna Van Hulsen working from behind the net, trying to find there's some room. Her pass doesn't connect, but Sophia Bacre is able to sweep the bouncing ball past the keeper and get Coon Rapids on the board. That was really their lone highlight. The Eagles fly away with this one relatively easy. Engel gets her 3rd of the game to make it 11-1 still in the first, and Totino's going to coast to a 19-1 win.
Yeah,
it's been a tough year for them.
It has been, and it didn't get any easier on Monday as they faced a tough Armstrong team and got blanked by a 22-0 score for the second time early in the season. Well, yes, the Cardinals have had a rough start so far, but not all success can be seen in a box score. The girls lost a dozen seniors to graduation, including most of their scoring, but they're not going to make excuses. Instead, this group is hitting the reset button and building a foundation on the most important tenet of amateur sports.
It is about the fun, and our captains do play a big role in that. You know, we love working with them.
The Cardinals know they'll be underdogs in almost every game this season, but their focus is on the big picture and building the program for the future.
We are a pretty young team, and we do have a lot of talent with people that are super young, and we have a lot of middle schoolers this year, so I think it's going to be good, like teaching them how to learn the game and then growing the program from here.
The Cardinals have a lot of new faces on the field, but many are quality athletes who play other sports. They come in eager to learn about lacrosse and showing the determination and work ethic needed to succeed.
Working hard at practice, making sure you play like how you're gonna, or practice how you're gonna play, and just do the best that you can.
The Cardinals are confident they'll find some wins this season, but they'll also look for the little successes along the way. Stringing passes together, winning draws, forcing turnovers. In order to improve, they need to go back to the basics.
Like the biggest thing is learning fundamentals, like your passing, your catching, your ground balls, like our stamina, like conditioning, like considering from the first week of practices and kind of, or even captain's practices, like watching the girls just grow in that way. Like they've gotten a lot better at passing and catching, things have been going quicker.
The spring season always seems to fly by, and it moves even faster when you're forced to play catch up. Fortunately, the Cardinals have a group committed to getting better, and everyone is willing to do what's best for the team.
I would say the flexibility of everyone. By that I mean people are playing different positions that they're not used to, and everyone's showing up for both games, JV and varsity, so you could be put into both games when you're not usually a varsity player or having to play down to JV. I think it's definitely just a learning experience that people just have to get used to, and it's definitely something that's going to help our players just get better.
The Cardinals know the road in front of them will be tough, but they're facing it together. And as long as they enjoy the experience, they're all winners in the end.
Just having fun and building a team that will grow even further as the years go on.
Road never easy
No.
in this conference for anyone. They host Maple Grove on Wednesday and then host Anoka on Monday. So the good part is they're back-to-back home games.
There.
But very tough season so far, and some more very tough competition on the horizon. We look forward to having a lot more for you here on CTN. We got boys lacrosse over at Spring Lake Park on Wednesday against Champlain Park. Baseball on Thursday against Andover. Softball also on Thursday against Andover. So we're getting it as much as we can for you. As long as the weather cooperates, we will do our best to bring you as much Cardinal action as possible. But that is going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. We want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro and the birthday boy, Paris Foster, in the control room, I'm Joe Young saying good night.